Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Barbara and I'm so happy that you're here today because it is finally time to film the video I promised you for so long. It is time to give you the video of the 12 books in 2022. This is a challenge that Sha at the Shadow Booker on Instagram created last year, where you're supposed to ask your friends to give you recommendations, 12 recommendations to read in 2022. And this blew up on Instagram and everybody was doing it, and I wanted to hop on the train, so I did. I got some recommendations. I didn't get recommendations from 12 people, but a little bit fewer, but I still have 12 books. So I want to talk to you about them, even though it is very late to film this video. It is now August. I was supposed to film it in December or beginning of January, but hey, here we are. And I keep mentioning this list to you when I play my TV avatar, where I allow myself to pick books from this list, even if I don't own them. So this is the list I've been talking about. So first recommendation I got was from Nicole at Enchanted Bookcase, and her recommendation was If This Gets Out by Sofia Gonzalez. This book is a YA contemporary romance between two boys who are in a boy band and have a kind of a tour, and they fall in love, they want to be together, and they want to come out to their fans that they are together and that they are a couple. But they know that they would never get the support of their management team, so now they are struggling to balance or to figure out how to make this work, how to make the relationship work in the space that they are in, where no one wants them to be together. So that sounds like a very interesting book addressing very important issue. So that's the first recommendation. Second recommendation was also from Nicole, and this one is XOXO by XEO. And this is a YA contemporary romance, and this is about, I think, a cello prodigy girl named Jenny, who is very passionate about being a musician. She wants to go to this prestigious musical school, but all the plans kind of get ruined when she meets this boy called Jevo in her uncle's Los Angeles karaoke bar, and they spend one night full of adventures together, and then she never hears from him again. Then something happens and she and her mother needs to move to South Korea to take care of her sick grandmother, but then she goes to the school, to the very prestigious music school, and she finds out that this guy, Jae-woo, that she met before, is now in the same school. And not only he's in the same school, he's also a member of one of the biggest K-pop bands, and he's strictly forbidden from dating. So she is kind of now trying to figure out how much she likes this boy and how much it is important to her to follow her dream, and she's trying to navigate that. So that sounds also very interesting. I got actually two more recommendations from Nicole. Next one is I Wish You All the Best by Mason Deaver, and this is another YA contemporary romance, also LGBT. What is this one about? When Ben the baker comes out to their parents as non-binary, they are thrown out of their house and forced to move in with their estranged old sister Hannah and her husband Thomas, whom Ben has never even met. Struggling with an anxiety disorder compounded by their parents' rejection, they come out only to Hannah, Thomas, and their therapist and try to keep a low profile in a new school. But Ben's attempts to survive the last half of senior year unnoticed are thwarted when Nathan Allen, a funny and charismatic student, decides to take Ben under his wing. As Ben and Nathan's friendship grows, their feelings for each other begin to change, and what started as a disastrous turn of events looks like it might just be a chance to start a happier new life. At turns heartbreaking and joyous, I Wish You All the Best is both a celebration of life, friendship, and love, and a shining example of hope in the face of adversity. So, very diverse reading here, very nice. And then the last book that Nicole recommended to me, I actually have this book, I bought it earlier this year, and it is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And this is a historical fiction about the band. And the blurb says, everybody knows Daisy Jones and the Six. Their sound defined an era. Their albums were on every turntable, they sold out arenas from coast to coast. Then, on July 12th, 1979, Daisy Jones walked barefoot onto the stage at the Whiskey, and it all came crashing down. Everyone was there. Everyone remembers it differently. Nobody knew why they split, until now. So, yeah, this is from the same author as The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I really enjoyed that one. And recently I've been really enjoying books about celebrities and famous people, so this is yet another book that I expect to love. So, thank you, Nicole, for all these recommendations. Now we move on to recommendation from Tara at Tara's Bookshelf, and she recommended to me 1,000 Ships by Natalie Haynes, which is a Greek mythology retelling, I think focused on women in Trojan War. That's all I know, and that's all I need to know. I'm sold. Next book was recommended to me by Bryony at Bryony Reads Books. And she recommended to me the book Iron Widow by Jiran J. Zhao. And this is a YA fantasy sci-fi book. Very popular. The boys of Huajia dream of pairing up with girls to pilot chrysalises, giant transforming robots that can battle the mecha aliens that lurk beyond the Great Wall. It doesn't matter that the girls often die from the mental strain. When 18-year-old Zhetian offers herself up as a concubine pilot, it's to assassinate the ace male pilot responsible for her sister's death. But she gets her vengeance in a way nobody expected. She kills him through the psychic link between pilots and emerges from the cockpit unscathed. She is labeled an Iron Widow, a much feared and much silenced kind of female pilot who can sacrifice boys to power up chrysalises instead. To tame her unnerving yet invaluable mental strength, she is paired up with Li Shimin, the strongest and most controversial male pilot in Huajia. But now that Zhetian has had a taste of power, she will not cower so easily. She will miss no opportunity to leverage their combined might and infamy to survive attempt after attempt on her life until she can figure out exactly why the pilot system works in its misogynist way and stop more girls from being sacrificed. We have what sounds like insane feminist sci-fi fantasy. Love it. Love the sound of it. If it's something similar to Red Rising, I didn't finish Red Rising. I didn't understand anything that was happening in that book. I didn't like it at all. I hope this is better. But yeah, I'm not sure I would actually pick it up on my own because it sounds very specific. But I will gladly try. So thank you for this recommendation. Next up, we have recommendation by Beth from B Book 3. And she recommended me The Wolf Den by Elodie Harper. And this is another Greek mythology retelling. It is a part of a trilogy, I believe. So that's really cool. Yes, Wolf Den trilogy. And this focuses on Amara, who was sold by her mother, enslaved in Pompey's brothel, determined to survive. Her name is Amara. Welcome to the Wolf Den. Amara was once a beloved daughter until her father's death plunged her family into penury. Now she is a slave in Pompey's infamous brothel, owned by a man she despises. Sharp, clever, and resourceful, Amara is forced to hide her talents, for as a she-wolf, her only value lies in the desire she can stir in others. Yeah, another feminist Greek mythology retelling. I'm in. We have 5 more recommendations to go through. So we have The Forbidden Wish by Jessica Corey. This was a recommendation by Veronica from Paradise with Books. And this is a YA fantasy fairy tale retelling. She is the most powerful genie of all. He is a boy from the streets. Their laugh will shake the world. When Aladdin discovers Zara's genie lamp, Zara is thrust back into a world she hasn't seen in hundreds of years. A world where magic is forbidden and Zara's very existence is illegal. She must disguise herself to stay alive, using ancient shape-shifting magic until her new master has selected his 3 wishes. But when the king of the jinn offers Zara a chance to be free of her lamp forever, she seizes the opportunity, only to discover she is falling in love with Aladdin. When saving herself means betraying him, Zara must decide once and for all, is winning her freedom worth losing her heart? As time unravels and her enemies close in, Zara finds herself suspended between danger and desire in this dazzling retelling of Aladdin. So that sounds really cool. Curious to read that one. Next up, we have a recommendation from Aldana at Books and Grey Cats. She actually gave me 3 recommendations, so the following 3 are from Aldana. The first one is a very popular, a favorite classic, and it is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. And this is a gothic mystery classic book. I am honestly not sure what it's about, but I am curious about this book because it's very famous. It's on many people's recommendations for fall and autumn, so I plan to read it this season, so I'm really excited to get to it. Next up we have The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern, which is a magical realism and romance. This is this book which I'm currently reading, and it is basically about a boy called Zachary who goes into his university library, and there he finds a book where one of the chapters is about him. And now he's trying to find out how, why, how did that happen? And he just follows on from there. And so far I'm on page 62 and I'm really enjoying it, really loving it, but it's not very clear what's happening, but I'm enjoying it. And then the last recommendation from Aldana was If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio, which is a mystery dark academia. I've already read this, and it is very, very good book. It is focused on this group of students, theater students. Especially we follow Oliver in this group of students. There is 7 of them, and they are studying theater, especially Shakespeare theater. And yeah, they are very competitive and it's a very prestigious institution. So at some point some things just go wrong, and I loved the way it was written. I really loved this book, so thank you very much for your recommendations, Aldana. And then the last book that I was recommended on this, so the last book on this list is recommendation by Christiana at The Shakespeareana. And the book is The King's 100 by Karen Biggs, which is a YA fantasy sci-fi dystopia. That's a very interesting combination of genres. It is not very popular, but maybe I'm going to quickly read the blurb just to introduce to you also what it is about. 16-year-old princess Piper Parrish is a disappointment to the citizens of Capalon, a STEM-structured kingdom where innovation is valued above all. Her older sister, the Queen, views Piper's tears during their parents' funeral as a weakness, not to mention her strange affinity for singing. When Piper receives an anonymous note stating her mother is still alive and living in the enemy kingdom of Mondaria, Piper chooses to risk death and flees Capalon to prove once and for all that she is not just the Queen's defective little sister. Posing as a Mandarian citizen named Paris Marigold, Piper bumps into a cute black-haired boy named Ari who encourages her to audition for the King's 100, an esteemed performance court of singers, magicians, and drummers. Piper lands a spot as a singer and dives headfirst into a world of glittering dresses, girl code, sugar, blackmail, and physical contact, all while taking direction from an evil maestro. Under Mandarian law, Piper will be killed if her identity is revealed, but living a life without the freedom to love might actually be the most dangerous risk of all. So yeah, this sounds like a very much YA fantasy, but sounds interesting, and I'm curious to read it. So that's the list of the books I'm supposed to read this year. It is mid-August, and so far I've read 1 and I'm reading a second one. So I'm not doing well, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe I will be able to read them all by the end of the year. Who knows? But yeah, I think that's all for this video. So thank you very much for watching. Let me know if you read any of these books and if you would really recommend them. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!